Ta-da!
I'm so happy that I found the auto switch to the next thing button.
I just realized this look, I feel like it ages me at least 10 years. I was like,
In a classy way, though.
yeah,
I feel
yeah, not in like a bad way, but I look
more
much older than
professional,
yeah, like
more
even the,
experienced.
but yeah, I look a lot like my mother actually. Like I look so much like my mother right now. I might send her a picture and be like, I was attempting something and I ended up just looking like you in college. My mother is a gorgeous woman. I'm totally okay with
I mean,
that.
I assume so.
Yeah. But there's like a couple pictures. There's a picture in particular I'm thinking of where she's wearing a black top and she's totally glammed out in college, and she's holding a wine glass like draped over like a crappy college sofa, and she looks like a queen has just like been descended onto this area. And I like it look like her in that picture, so kind of enjoying it.
I love that. Ooh,
um,
I need to set us up the poll on my channel.
yes. Have you read this book? And she's read this book. Da-da-da.
I
The
didn't.
go ahead.
Oh, my video started playing over there, and you were saying something similar. So I was like, I'm not sure who to listen to.
I am in your computer at all times, watching, waiting.
That is not where I create a poll. Have you read this book?
My hair's poofier in person, but I think because it's just one angle, it doesn't communicate the poofiness.
Okay, you can't see my Hepburn bun that is slowly falling. Alright. Start the poll.
This isn't quite fully from the book, or it is from the book. I recognize street names and stuff from this book when talking about LA. I was like, oh wait, I've been there. Well, not for the restaurants and stuff, but I've been on that road. I know where that is.
Okay, so before we get into all of that, I would like to, do the little book talk intro.
Yes.
So, hello and welcome, all you lovely people. This is Book Talk, which is a book club-ish thing, more kind of like a book podcast at this point.
Yeah.
Where CB and I share books with each other that we enjoy. The only rule of the books we pick is that at least one of us has to really enjoy the book so that there's always somebody to bat for it. This month I picked the The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkin Reid. This is a standalone novel. It's done in a very Hollywood memoir style for one of the narratives, because there's two different narratives going on. One is essentially the memoir, and then the other one is our present day, which in our present day, our author of the memoir is a journalist who has been demanded for to write this novel, like specifically her. If nobody else, or if this journalist does not write it, if Monique does not write the memoir, Evelyn is just going to take her memoir to her grave, essentially.
No one gets to know the story if she's not the one telling it.
Yes, and so part of the intrigue of that is also like why Monique specifically, while also seeing Monique deal with some of her life stuff and like learning from Evelyn a little bit and being inspired by her to be more in control of her own life, which I greatly enjoyed the dual narrative. Yes. Now, Evelyn Hugo, while she is a completely fictional character, does take a lot of heavy inspiration from the golden years of Hollywood with starlets such as Marilyn Monroe, Oh, I cannot remember her brunette counterpart at the time. It's not Audrey Hepburn. It's
No.
they started.
Before.
It's kind of it was funny because when Evelyn and Ruby were starring in things together, there is a dark-haired actress that Marilyn starred in a lot of movies together. Co-actress. I'm looking it up because I cannot remember her name.
I don't remember her name either, but I have her face in my head. I have her face. No. Picturing her face.
Which you get to be the blonde bombshell, and I'm the dark-haired beauty.
Thank you.
But that's the archetypes that they fulfilled.
Yeah. I
My
don't think
search engine is
on the same level.
I left my list of Evelyn's husbands in the other room. Hold on.
No, I didn't take notes for this.
Oh, there was only one note I took, and it was like I just listed the 7 husbands out, and then put a star next to the husband she was married to while she was with Cecilia St. James.
Harry.
I just typed in list of husband.
Just a list of every single husband who's ever existed. It was,
okay, I have a list here.
Was Eddie the first one?
No, Ernie Diaz.
Okay, I was close. And then it was Dawn. And then it was
Nick Riva.
Okay, I was like, it's something like, I knew like who he was. And then I think, there was one more. Then it was, wow, I have much less faith in myself than I thought there was. Okay, there was Mick Riva, who's the quick one, and then it was... Oh, the fake marriage, the completely fake marriage with... I don't remember his name.
Rex North.
Rex, okay, and then it was Harry, and then it was Max, and then it was Ronald or Reggie or Richard or something like that.
Robert.
Damn. Let's cut that from the stream. I know this is live, but I had so much more faith in myself to be able to say those, to say all of the husbands.
Oh, I would not have remembered their names, just their roles in her life.
Yes. I was like, I did think I was going to be able to say all of the names. Yeah.
Was it Ashley Judd? That sounds correct. Sorry, I'm still trying to find Marilyn's dark-haired co-ed. I think it was Ashley Judd, maybe. She kind of does and kind of doesn't look correct, so that's what I'm going with for now.
Okay, would you like to explain the plot?
Yes. So the plot, I'm gonna go with the present day plot, is that Evelyn demands that Monique, right? She uses Monique's magazine to get to her, and they're like, she uses Monique's magazine to get to her. Her magazine wants a cover feature and an actual like in-depth article because Evelyn has not spoken to any form of the press in years, and she's giving away quite a few of her dresses to a auction, to an auction for charity, specifically for breast cancer, because her daughter had died of breast cancer previously. And so she's like, yeah, I'll let you guys do like a piece on that if Monique rates it. And Monique's like, why me? Nobody knows. So she goes to Evelyn, and Evelyn's like, okay, I lied. I'm not doing a piece with your magazine. I want to give you my story. I want to give you my memoir, and you can do whatever you want with it. Like, I would like you to sell it for as much money as you can get. And Monique's like, this is a gift horse that I'm definitely looking in the mouth because this is sus. Like, what the fuck, Evelyn? We don't know each other. And Evelyn's like, you need more confidence in yourself. Just fucking take it. This is like a deal of a lifetime. And so, but Monique's like, you won't give me a timeline, and because you won't give me a timeline, you're asking me to risk my job for you, and I'm not going to do that. So here's some things I need. And I'm speeding through parts of the thing, but and then, well, they start doing it, and then she negotiates with Evelyn. She negotiates both with her magazine and with Evelyn because she wants a promotion and a raise if she can get Evelyn to do a piece for the magazine. And the magazine is all like, okay, but it has to be a cover, and it has to be an excerpt, and she has to like pose for a cover photo. And she's like, all right, I'll get Evelyn to agree to it. And then Evelyn does. She agrees to it. And then she's like, I'll pose for the photo Friday because we'll be done by that point, because they had got through, I think, like 5 husbands at that point, because that's how I mark progress in the book and which husband I'm on.
Fair.
And by the end of that, they agree and they're going to finish. I'm going to go over the past a little bit before I finish the present.
Yeah.
Because in the past, we start out with, Evelyn as a little girl, because this is a biography. And she was a mama's girl. She loved her mom. They were like super close. But her mom died, and her dad was an abusive alcoholic, and she hit puberty young and hard. She got big boobs real young, and because of this, she knew that her dad was going to eventually sell her to the highest bidder, and she wasn't at all convinced he wasn't going to do anything before then, which that fucking sucks, because that's just all kinds of not okay. And then she seduces a guy down the hall to take her to Hollywood, because her mom had always vowed that she would make it in Hollywood and she would be a starlet and stuff. And so Evelyn, at 14, lies and says she's old. She's 16. And then her dad signs the papers for her to marry Ernie. And that's how we get husband number 1. And she is a cunning little thing. She goes to Hollywood. She starts hanging out at the good places to try to be discovered. Eventually, she earns her way into connections and into movies and stuff. And then basically Harry Cameron's going to be one of the greatest characters in this book. And he's all like, all right, well, if you want to like start promoting this movie and stuff, you're going to have to be seen around with some of the guys, because that's how Hollywood promotion worked, and to an extent still works today. And he's like, is that going to be a problem? And she's like, no, she leaves her husband, gives him a little bit of money. And he's like, okay. She genuinely falls in love with Dawn. Dawn and her are great. They are a Hollywood power couple at the top of both of their game. And then they get married. And then Dawn is no longer at the top of his game. And it's that she's still at the top of his game.
Her game, yeah.
Her game, yes. And so he becomes abusive. And she falls out of love with him. But also, there's not a whole lot she can do. Well, during this time, she's given a role to play Joan in Joe in Pretty Little... No, in Little Women. I was going to say Pretty Little Women.
I was like, Pretty Little Liars? No.
No, I was going to say Pretty Little Women, and then because I was mixing it with Pretty Woman. And
okay.
Yeah. Which would be a completely different kind of movie.
Yes.
But with Little Women, and there's her kind of rival, frenemy, bestie, Ruby, is in that movie. And then Cecilia St. James is also going to be in that movie, whom is a very popular up-and-comer that both Evelyn and Ruby clock as being, she's Basically, she's the new hot thing. And they're like, you're going to put us in a movie with her? When she's playing the charming little sister who dies. They're like, what the fuck? She's getting our Oscar. Which Harry's all like, no, and Dawn's like, no, and they're all like, fucking men, y'all don't understand shit. Also, very important, Evelyn Hugo's actual name is Evelyn Hernandez. Was it?
It was Herrera's.
Herrera's, thank you. Dyslexia. So is Evelyn Herrera's. She is Mexican, and her skin is, I want to say it's not dark. I want to say it's
Cuban.
medium. Oh, she's Cuban? Mm-hmm. My apology. Oh, yeah, because Harry calls her Mexican, and she says, no, I'm Cuban. And he's like, that's probably what got it. That is a big bad on my part. But I want to say she's like on the lesser dark side, because she passes
described as the tan that a woman would spend all day trying to get. So she's
well, actually, you can see her on the cover.
She's passable for a white woman who's just quite tan, and especially back then, people turned a blind eye to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say if you look at this cover, I actually think that's a fair representation of probably what her skin tone would be. And then they dye her hair, or they bleach her hair blonde so that she becomes a blonde bombshell. And they change her name to Evelyn Hugo because it sounds French. She wanted to keep her initials because that is the name that, she got from her mom. So she was at least able to keep her first name and her initials while tricking the populace into believing she's French instead of Cuban.
That she's white is the important
part. Forbid.
Yeah. The French is the important part. The white people is. Yeah.
Yes, because and which was a thing that starlets did I'm sure there were some movie actors who did it too, but I only know for sure of like 4 starlets who were not white, but a lot of people thought they were white, or they essentially had to be whitewashed in order to make it in Hollywood at that time. So I thought I liked the choice that they went there with her, especially with as Marilyn Monroe coded as Evelyn is.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of concepts of identity, and not just in the whole novel, and there's a wide variety. It didn't just like, oh, we're going to focus on queer identities or racial identities, or there's just a bunch of different things that
I set us up a lower third for that. So
what?
I said I set us up a lower third to discuss that later.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to hold myself back while I'm discussing the plot right now.
Yes, you're doing the plot summary, which means I can poke in my head and say little things.
I can do this. There we go. Now you have to scoot over. I had to scoot over last time.
Fine.
But yeah, so that is also a really big thing for her, where at first it's like she tries to make it not a big deal that she has to throw away her heritage and everything, but there is a part of her, and there are little things that she does here and there that let us know that she's not 100% okay with it, but she has to be, because this is Hollywood and that's what you do. Notably, all of the men she marries are much older than her. All of them. None of them are around her age.
I think the closest in age is like 7 years.
Wait, Mick Riva was younger, I think, maybe, because he was an up-and-coming rock star. And by that point, she was older.
I think he was older.
I care not enough to double check, so Mick is up in the air. But most of her husbands, if not all, were quite a bit older than her. Yeah, we're on Dawn right now, and Cecilia St. James, whom she meets, which I love that during the initial interview, when asked who the love of her life, which is another thing that's very important, is the journalist, whenever she makes an assumption or whenever she says something, Evelyn makes it a very big point that while she understands the culture of today, which I would say this is contemporary for the 2010s.
It said 2017.
Yeah, I was going to say before 2020, but after the 2010s. So somewhere between 2010 and 2020. So she said that the culture is very glib today and is very like lax with our word choice and everything. She's like, I want to be very clear and very specific with the words. She's like, basically, I trust that you can do it, but I want you to know that I want you to be very serious with the words that you use and how we speak, even when we are speaking casually about this. Also, hi, JC. Thank you. Yes, finally, we're talking about it. We're doing the plot summary real quick. Real quick. It's going to
real quick. It's going to be like half the stream.
So yeah, when she talks about Cecilia St. James and stuff, she becomes great friends with Cecilia. They're like the best of friends and stuff. And at some point, you know that Cecilia is crushing on Evelyn in a non-platonic way. Like Cecilia is hetero, and Cecilia puts out feelers to try to figure out if Evelyn is actually into men or not. And Evelyn's like, no, yeah, I love my husband. She's like, I am down for dick. There's no doubt. I enjoy it. And Cecilia's like, oh, then she must not like women, because you can only be down for dick or not. There's no other.
Well, yeah. Especially at that time.
Still, we'll get into that. Don't worry. So she like gives up and stuff, but then, you know, things happen, stuff goes on, just regular Hollywood drama with like Dawn's career is still tanking. Cecilia's doing great. Dawn wants kids, but like not because he actually wants a family, but more just because he wants to control Evelyn, and he's mad that her career is better than his.
And to carry on his like family legacy.
That is probably part of it, but I don't think that accounts for the timing of it.
No. It's definitely majority because her career's still happening. His is not, and having babies is a way to get women out.
Then they're at an award show, which I forgot what the movie was that Evelyn and Cecilia starred in together, but Evelyn was like, ain't nobody gonna give a shit about me in this movie. Everyone's gonna be all for Cecilia. Dawn's like, no, you're gonna get the Oscar, blah, blah, blah. It was what?
It was Little Women. It was the show.
Oh, okay, so it was that one. And then, of course, Cecilia got, you know, the Oscar for it. It was great, and Evelyn supported her, and Dawn didn't like that. Well, that was when she like finds out that Dawn's cheating on her, and also somebody, I think Ruby is the one that tells her, she's like, you know, Cecilia's a lesbian. And at some point, Evelyn's brain goes, women are a choice? Like, women are an option? Hold on. Mm-hmm. And then she proceeds to go and make out with Cecilia. And then Cecilia's like, I thought I can't process this right now, and just leaves. Evelyn goes and catches Dawn literally putting his pants back up. And Dawn's like, let me explain. And she's like, no, I am leaving you. And she gets Harry to take her, because at this point, Harry is her biggest, like, he's her best friend and confidant. We know that Harry is gay, but Harry has not just told Evelyn this because he wants to give her plot. He's protecting her because this is during the 50s.
I think we're in the late 40s at this point.
Let me double check. Actually, when were the Stonewall riots?
60s.
Because those happened later. But
like those were in the 60s, I think.
Yeah. I think currently we're in the late 50s. I think Evelyn was born in the 40s. Because she's like 24, 25 by the time they do Little Women.
Okay.
And the Stonewall riots happen less than 10 years later. But either way, she divorces Dawn, and now she's with Cecilia. Their careers are, well, Cecilia's career is doing great. Evelyn's career, however, she has been blackballed by Hollywood because Dawn is Hollywood royalty, because he's an Adler, and he's gotten his studio to blackball her everywhere, which I love that they work for Sunrise. And Sunrise is either a real studio or Sunset. That's what it is. Sunrise is a real studio, and they work in Sunset, I think is what it is. I didn't do, yes, fact check me because my internet is not letting me fact check anything.
Sunset Studios is real.
Okay.
As far as I know.
But either way, this is like everything about the setting is so real and so well referenced that when they do make something up, it's very hard to tell it was made up.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's I was like looking up images, and just stuff like that about it. And so many of the like top searches were, is Evelyn Hugo real? What's Evelyn Evelyn Hugo real face? Evelyn Hugo like discography, or not discography, but yeah, all of her work, Evelyn Hugo filmography, and all this other stuff that I'm like, she's not real.
I know, it's so well done. It's making me forget what is real. But she and Cecilia are an item at this point, but Evelyn is, I think, because she's a little older, because I know she was 25 when Cecilia was like 19 or something, so she is a little bit older than Cecilia, so she's got like more world weariness and stuff. Also, Cecilia grew up a little sheltered.
Yes.
So Evelyn is like,
I would
say that again?
I would say she was quite sheltered.
Yes, yeah. She's very sheltered. Also, Evelyn is already dealing with bi erasure at this point, because like Cecilia, she's like, you're a lesbian, and Evelyn's like, I'm not a lesbian because I do like men. Mm-hmm. She's like, I liked my husband, I just also like women. She's like, I like both, right?
Yeah.
There's also a part in the present timeline when Monique asked, like, who was the love of your life? And she says it was Cecilia St. James. And then she's like, are you ready to come out as a gay woman in this book? And Evelyn gets annoyed because she's like, no, you're not listening. And she's like, okay, are you ready to come out as a bisexual woman? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, as a pan woman, I'm like, yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah, it was super, that conversation was super validating.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do this as quick as possible without missing anything important. She goes to France to try to, because she can't get anything in Hollywood in America. And there she meets an experimental French director, which, a fucking course, if you're going to meet any experimental director back then, it was going to be French. And that was Max Girard, which she did an almost titty shot picture.
Mm-hmm.
That took the fucking world by the balls. Everybody loved Evelyn again. She like came back. Her and Cecilia were together. She done a slip up. People started being like, I smell lesbians. And she was like, no, they can't know. And so she tricks a rock star who had already professed how much he loves her and would like to marry her into getting a one-day marriage and then divorcing her because he just wanted sex and it wasn't that good because Evelyn tanked it on purpose. But this does also end up ruining her and Cecilia's relationship for the first time, because Evelyn ends up pregnant, and this is when Cecilia's like, oh, so you fucked him, which I'm like, Cecilia, honey, what? How did you, what? Like, yeah, I understand it was not discussed, but also like, how, that's just one of those things.
What else was the other option?
That's just one of those things that shows how naive she was. So.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the tea came at me faster than I expected.
I'm sitting over here just like adjusting lighting and stuff, make myself look pretty. And then you're like, okay, let me break down the plot of the book. And I'm like, yes. Here's my little 2 cents every couple lines.
Then her and Cecilia don't talk to each other for 5 years. And during those 5 years, in order to continue to promote and do well in Hollywood, she marries Rex North, who she's just like, we are going to have a loveless, sexless marriage because I cannot deal with actual marriage at this point in my life. And he's like, can I still sleep around? And she's like, yes, just don't get caught. And he's like, I would never do anything to embarrass you, Miss Hugo. And I'm like, I fucking love this man already.
Yeah, I like Rex.
He's fine. And then their marriage ends kind of funny. They do a movie together in which they are both having affairs in the movie. And then he's like, so I've fallen in love with a woman and I want to settle down and have kids. And Evelyn's like, okay, here, this is my in-depth plan as to how we are going to divorce without the public hating us. And he's all like, no, she's pregnant. And Evelyn's like, son of a bitch. Oh, also very important detail. The pregnancy by Mick Riva, Evelyn did have terminated. And
yeah.
I like that she doesn't regret that choice, but she also portrays that, like, that it was hard and that it did, like, it affected her, but it was still, she feels the best decision at the time. So really, there's so much this book does a phenomenal job portraying.
It handles a lot of really heavy.
So many things really well. We're getting there. We've got through 4 husbands now. And then so after she and Rex get a divorce, which she and Harry's just like, why don't we just get married? And I think, or was it Evelyn? One of them suggests, why don't they
he suggested it.
Yeah, he suggested it. And then, she's like, excuse? And he's like, look, I'm dating Cecilia's husband. And she's like, oh, so he gay? And he's like, yes. And she's like, so their marriage is fake? And he's like, yes. And we can all be beards. We can be lavender marriages together.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, let me go seduce Cecilia and then we'll make it work. And that's what they do. And so they live as a double married couple for many years together until yes, this happens. Sorry, I was no, he didn't die yet. That's what I was double checking.
Okay.
She and Cecilia do break up first. So she goes and she does another movie. Oh, her and Harry decide they want to have a kid because Harry and her both, they're like, their biological clocks are going off and they're like, I want kids. And they're like, I can't imagine anyone on this planet I would want to have a kid with other than you, my gay soulmate. She says to him. And he's like, yes. And then she's like, but we got to make one the old-fashioned way because we cannot have the rumors. And he's like, no, I agree. I get it. And he's like, and honestly, I'm a little bit bi for you and only you. And she's like, you cannot tell my overly possessive wife that. And he's like, fair. So she talks to her wife, and her wife is like, well, no, at this point, I'm going to make the distinction that they're lovers and not wives only because of how they handle something later. So she talks to her, lover, Cecilia. And Cecilia agrees to it, but is also still a little weird about it because, like, right after Evelyn has the baby, she's basically like, you should do this very sexy film with Max Gerard so that the world doesn't just put you in the box of, like, old maid or old mom, basically. Yeah. And while Evelyn appreciates that, she also on a level realized that Cecilia was trying to, in her own way, prevent Evelyn from changing. And Evelyn is like, I'm going to be whoever the fuck I want to be, and ain't nobody going to stop me. And I'm like, I love you, Evelyn. Mm-hmm. Evelyn does make a major relationship faux pas, in my opinion, and in Evelyn's opinion. Mm-hmm. So she's doing this movie with Dawn Adler, famously her worst marriage. Well, it ended. Honestly, it's a complicated. I would say
physically abusive ex.
Yes. I say it's her worst marriage, but she also remembers that marriage a little more fondly than she remembers some of the other ones. So I will say it's her most complex marriage, because she did love him and they were genuinely good until they weren't. And so it leaves her with a lot of complicated emotions toward Dawn. And but she and Dawn, I'm trying to, in the spirit of Evelyn, be very careful with my word choice, decide to bury the hatchet. She pointedly does not forgive him, but she understands that they are at different points in life now, and he has changed.
Yeah, he's gotten sober.
Yeah, he's gotten sober, and he has done the work to be better. And this is business. This is not personal. So she decides, yes, we can work together. That's fine. We're not friends, but we can be coworkers, basically. And then they are playing lovers in the movie, and Max Gerard is like, I want to show a woman wanting to orgasm and a woman taking her orgasm on film. Now, she just has to act like she's orgasming. She doesn't actually have to have sex with Dawn. And Evelyn loves this idea. She absolutely lives. This is a step in women empowerment that she absolutely wants to do. She is 100% confident in it and everything. She does not talk to Cecilia about it until after she does it, because after she does it, she feels how she has messed up and that she should have talked to Cecilia about doing that first. And she talks to Cecilia, but she presents it as if she hasn't done it yet. And then Cecilia is very honestly just be like, I want to be okay with this, but I can't because it's your ex. And which honestly, I don't think she would have been okay with it no matter what man it was, because Cecilia had a very deep insecurity when it came to Evelyn and men.
Yes.
And then Evelyn tells her, she's like, I already did it. And then Cecilia leaves her. And this is their second breaking up. And this one lasts even longer. During the time they are apart, Harry's lover dies. Harry becomes... Was his name Don?
I think his name was John. It's definitely a J name.
Don. I thought you said Don.
No.
Yeah.
J.
Yeah, John dies. And they are all mourning him, but Harry especially has mourned him. Evelyn does her best to make sure that Harry does not basically go over the deep end or anything.
He's having problems with alcohol.
Yeah, she does as well as she can, but Harry still, he's self-medicating with alcohol, and he's doing a lot on his own, and basically if he is not with her or with their daughter Connor, then he's drinking. The movie does really well, and Max confronts Evelyn about the fact that her marriage is fake and that he's in love with her and has always been in love with her, and so she should marry him. And she kind of falls for this, and she not falls as in he's trying to trick her, but falls as in she is very seduced by this. Yeah. And so they end up married, but as of the fucking wedding night, she realizes this was
he's in love with Evelyn Hugo and not Evelyn.
Yes. And so she's very depressed about her marriage with Max. I forgot at which point. I think it was while she was married to Rex, her first completely fake marriage, that she had gotten a housekeeper who unashamedly was unashamedly Hispanic. And so, and it kind of made Evelyn feel guilty about having thrown that part away from her. And so in small ways, she tries to reconnect with that a little bit. and come to terms with the fact that by letting go of that, she has let go of a piece of her mother. She keeps that housekeeper with her for many, many years.
Like 50 years.
Yeah,
Not
like
quite 50, but like 40.
I want to say probably somewhere between 40 and 50, because she moves her from California to New York when they move to New York, and the marriage with Max ends because Cecilia and Evelyn reach out to each other again, and decide, like through correspondence, that they're going to get together again.
Yeah.
They meet in person. They are very, I want to say, mature with the way that they discuss what happened in the past and how they fucked up. It is notable that while Evelyn was all for it, and while she does understand the cultural impact that the movie had and like how great it was for everyone else, that she herself got a lot of hate and flack and was greatly criticized for doing the movie, and that movie is what lost her Cecilia the second time. It is the one thing she talks about in the book. Like at the beginning of the book, she makes it a point to say that she is not, essentially, she's not a good person and she's done a lot of bad things in her life, but she wouldn't necessarily change any of it because it got her to where she is, and it got her things she did. But that movie does feel like it might be the one thing that she would have changed. She doesn't say that directly, but the way she talks about it versus the way she talks about everything else, that feels like she would,
different.
Yeah, she might have changed that one. She was so fucking pissed compared to all the others. We also, so because she and Cecilia reconnect, Cecilia is basically like, you should marry my brother. Oh, Cecilia has something terminal.
Something from smoking.
Yeah, I forgot what it is. Some I think it's a lung disease.
It's a respiratory something, but I don't remember the medical terms.
Yeah, but
lung failure, basically.
Yeah, so she's diagnosed with that, and she's like, Evelyn, I want you to marry my brother so that when I die, you get everything, and nobody can try to take it away from you because we're both women. And she's like, would your older brother want to marry me? And she's like, he don't care. He is such an easygoing hoe. Just let him hoe about. And it's like, oh, so I'm marrying, was it Rex? Yeah, so I'm marrying Rex. All right, cool.
No, that was Robert. No.
Yeah, no, I'm making a comparative joke.
Oh, okay.
That because she's like, would your brother even want to marry me? And it's like, yeah, Robert, it's fine. Just let him still hoe around. And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's my marriage with Rex again. Cool. Yeah. But there is some issue with her and Harry as to whether or not they should move to, because Cecilia wants to move to Spain. Like, just go to Spain where nobody knows them, and they can just live as people. And Harry doesn't want to go to Spain because Harry has a new lover. And for the first time since John died, he feels like he's in love with it again. And Evelyn's like, all right, we'll figure it out. Well, amidst their not figuring it out, Harry drives drunk and ends up killing his lover in a car accident, and he passes away in the hospital. And Evelyn and Cecilia, like, they all grieve and they deal with it. And I will say Evelyn is a great mother. She tries to balance her career and her daughter, but when she realizes that, like, balancing her career is not good for her daughter, she's like, you know what, I'm 50, my daughter really needs me. And especially, like, since she lost her dad, she's like, we're gonna go to Spain because she thinks that'll be good for her. And she's also, like, tells her daughter, she's like, look, this is all I want. I want you to have one meal with us a day. And she's like, you're going to college soon. You can give me, like, one meal a day, and and go to therapy, and I will ask nothing else of you.
Her daughter's 14 and having problems with drugs, drinking, and sex. Like, she needs to get out of there. Like, something's not working right.
Yeah, she's like, LA is terrible for my daughter. So I was like, I walked in on my 14-year-old having a threesome. This is not okay.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, you know what? Good. And so her daughter agrees to that and stuff. And she has a good relationship with her daughter from that point on. Robert also, great stepdad. And he and the daughter connect and everything. Cecilia does pass away from her cancer, and then they come back stateside. I don't remember what happens with Robert. If he just like passes away at some point. I don't think he ever got divorced.
I think he just died at some point.
I think
he was significantly older than her. And so I think he just passed at like 70.
Yeah, he probably just passed away.
It was old enough where I'm like, yeah, that's a normal, or it was like in his 80s. Like, it was.
Yeah, I think he just passed, like, I think they were actually married till death, so. She has Harry's inheritance, she has Robert's inheritance, she has Cecilia's inheritance. Evelyn has all the money now. I do
give it to. Sorry, that was depressing.
She gave it to charity. Actually, her new housekeeper, Grace. She could have given it to Grace, but she gave Grace a nice sum, from my understanding. One of my favorite quotes from the book is when Monique asked her about like the books, how she's like, how do you feel about all of like articles and everything in the headlines just asking about the husbands of Evelyn Hugo? Doesn't that ever bother you? And Evelyn, fucking icon that she is, she's like, no, because they're just my husbands. I'm Evelyn Hugo. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that was and I think when they hear, they'll be much more interested in my wife.
Yes. I'm almost done with the wrap up, because this is also when we find out that, because Monique is like, okay, but why did you want me to write your, book and stuff? And Evelyn's like, because the man that was Harry's lover that died in that car accident was your dad. And she she gave her a letter that was basically the dad being like, Harry, I love you. I never knew that I could find love like this. However, I love my wife in a different way, and my daughter is my world. I would cease to exist without my child. So I cannot go with you to Spain. And it hit me so fucking hard when Monique was like, why would you give me this letter? Like, because you're trying to basically like tarnish my dad's image, or because you think I'll care that he's gay. And Evelyn's just like, no, because like you deserve to know how fucking loved you were. Because Evelyn's father, she wasn't even sure he wouldn't molest her. So I'm like, God.
Also important to note that when they took Harry from the crash to the hospital, they framed the Monique's dad for being the driver and doing a drunk driving. So she thought her entire life that her dad made a bad decision and it took him from her, but he didn't. But Evelyn was the reason she thought that.
Yes. Also, it is important to note, I haven't touched on it a lot because I wanted to bring it up with bisexual. Monique is biracial. She had a black father and a white mother, which I forget how old Monique is, but yes, so that was still frowned upon at the time of her birth. And there are a lot of parallels and allegories between Evelyn dealing with her bisexuality and Monique relating, because she has to deal with being how others react and interact with her biracial identity.
And Evelyn hiding her Cuban identity.
Yes.
And trying to be like, and how Monique's like trying to be more white. I think she like said at one point.
Yeah.
Or like suppressing the fact that she's two things coming together and not one or the other.
Right. I want to catch up on chat real quick. Finally, you're talking about this amazing book. Yes. So happy. I don't think he cared about his family legacy. This is Don Adler. It was all about control. He thought he could keep her barefoot and pregnant. Yeah, it was so well written that for a hot second I did wonder if it was at least. I definitely Googled. I didn't think she was, but I was like, I need to know. Which drove Cecilia crazy because Cecilia felt she couldn't deal with the side of Evelyn that also loved men because she couldn't compete with a man. Equipment-wise, I mean, which is fair. Thank you. We went for old Hollywood with our vibe today. I brought up Connor. Yes, I got there. Slowly. It took me almost an hour, but we got there.
Right.
Okay. So we'll start with the very basic things. Did you enjoy this book?
Absolutely. Oh my God, yes. I have seen this book floating around for a while, probably since it came out.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
go on. No.
My mom actively walked into my room a couple years ago with our paper copy of the book, put it on my desk, and went, "You should read this." And I didn't. Which
now you need to message your mother and say, "I'm sorry, you were."
We've already talked about it. Because I texted my family a few days ago, being like, "Hey, do we have an online version of it?" And my dad's like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." And my mom's like, "No, it's just the physical one." And then yesterday, when I was around 30-40% through the book, I texted like my whole family group chat. I was like, "This is a really good book. You guys should read it." And then I called my mother today, and I was like, "I finished the book." Yeah, and then we talked a little bit about bisexual representation. So it was cool to see. It just the whole book was beautifully done. It handled a lot of heavy topics in a palatable but not overly lightening way. Like I never felt there was any points during the book where I'm like, this is too depressing, I don't want to listen anymore. To the point, I'm terrible under deadlines. We know this. With this book, it was, I need to stop and go to sleep, or I need to stop listening and get up and like get ready for the day so I can go out and like do stuff I scheduled weeks ago. But I'm like, I just want to keep listening. Yeah, it was fantastic. I didn't find that, like, I didn't feel like I had to occupy my brain with other things. Like I was playing Breath of the Wild and doing some embroidery while I worked on it, but that was mostly to keep my hands busy. But it was,
I do that too.
Okay. Enthralling.
As you know, it was Evelyn and Hyrule.
Evelyn and Hyrule, seriously. As you were like recounting stuff, like doing your summary, I'm like imagining what shrines I was in. And I was like, this is terrible. I can't believe that's my visual memory of this.
Same though. I'm like, what level was I at this part of the book to like help me remember?
Yeah.
1,000%. JC loved this book.
So I very, very much loved this book. Kind of glad I didn't read it when I was younger. Somewhat, just because I think there are, depending on how much younger we're talking about. But it came out 5 years ago, so I'm glad. Maybe I could have, like I was 17, but I'm like, no, I wasn't. It came out in 2017, which means I was like 13 or 14. Wow, I just failed math. So badly. My brain's still struggling with that. Okay, because it's not 2022. I'm 22. It's 2025.
Yes.
So no, I could not have read it when it came out, probably, but I'm glad that I have now read it. And like, even when I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about it. When I was like falling asleep, I was like, oh my God, thinking about it, cooking, thinking about it. And I was like, oh, that's for me the sign of a good book or piece of media is consuming thoughts, which yesterday I had a lot of intense media consumption between this book and then watching a show with Rowan. So I had weird ass dreams last night, guys. But it was really good. So yes, I enjoyed it. That's my.
Did you have a favorite husband? I can't say. Oh, I forgot that when they went to Spain, she made it a point to propose to Celia, and she told Celia that she's like, we're married because you and I say we're married right here, and we vow to be married. And that was when
they did a little vows thing in bed, and it was so cute. I probably Robert. Not gonna lie,
the most chill.
Rex is close because Rex was also kind of just like there, but I don't. His womanizing is a little different than Robert's womanizing. I feel like Harry, love Harry, but the drunk driving, and I understand his like grief and everything, but it's just like, oh my god, that's something that's near unforgivable. If not,
Harry was my favorite of her husbands because while he was her husband, he was
during husbanding, he was a great husband.
After he was her ex-husband, I don't have to attribute any of that to being her husband.
No. So his role as a husband, he did very, very well. And I liked his attitude and his protection of her from the time when she's like super young, because they met when she was like 16. And him taking care of her and just like having one person in her life that isn't terrible.
He tried. He asked her with Dawn specifically if like she was actually happy.
Yeah, and then the fact that like he assumed she knew that he was cheating on her and that Dawn was cheating on her, not Harry. That's not cheating. That's consensual stuff.
Lavender marriage.
Yes. So I thought probably Robert, just for being unproblematic and a good stepdad.
That's fair.
Also not being homophobic to
his
like
sister?
his sister and his sister-in-law, or I guess his wife, but not really.
Oh, I also appreciate that Connor, her daughter, did not seem to care.
No.
Potentially already knew.
Like, yeah. With Max, I always, the entire time I was like, not loving this vibe. And then it was like, I'd forgotten who she had married. There's like a list at the beginning or something like that. But when Max was reintroduced, I was like, fuck.
Max gave creepy vibes.
Creepy vibes. And then him being a homophobe, I'm both glad we got an actual homophobe in the book, not just like the concept of homophobia and like looming over them. Like I'm glad we got an actual person who is homophobic. Because it is a person thing, not a conceptual thing.
This is like gonna be a weird statement to make, I guess, but I like that he was casually homophobic as opposed to like toxic homophobic, because he was like, he didn't seem like he was like he hated Evelyn for being a lesbian. He was just like, oh well, you just are, and that's just lesser. And he's like, oh, and I could ruin your career with this, right? But like, which, to be clear, all homophobia is toxic, but there's just, I like that he showed just kind of like that was the casual homophobia at the time, right? Like that's just how the general like thing, like the general zeitgeist was. He wasn't like particularly hateful with it.
I thought he was very hateful with it, but he wasn't violent with it.
That might be what I'm. He wasn't like violent, and he was trying to blackmail her with it.
Yeah, and he said like slurs and that she's disgusting and stuff like that.
I may have blocked the disgust.
Yeah, like when you were saying that, I'm like, Sam, he said bad things, Sam.
Well, okay, I will say with the slur, he I don't know how bad those slurs were used outside of America.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of those things where I don't know how to culturally judge it, because you know how like in Europe they use the C word casually.
He did
here
plenty of other stuff that were
But
terrible.
yeah, the other one was
aside from
I blacked him out. I hated him from the beginning.
Yeah, I was like, their first meeting, he's just staring at her kids, and he's like, "Oh, I have an idea." I'm like, ugh, ugh.
Yeah, he did that. He, like, to be clear, he was creepy and gross from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think I have just 1010 was her worst husband, and I just kind of blocked most of him out.
You think Max was her worst husband?
Yes.
Yeah. I think he is. Mostly because he didn't see her as a human being. Like that, Don, and he shows no remorse over what he did. Like Don, yes, bad, but he's like, is a bad guy. I'm a bad guy kind of attitudes. Like you can look at Don, see his behavior, and goes, that's bad. And or even the fucking musician whose name's too complicated. Like you can look at him and be like, you like, well, but they were using each other there, and yeah. So Max was just like, oh, you got to know them personally and let your prejudice take over. And that's kind of it. Like, it was your prejudice that ruined everything. And yes, he did discover very intimate letters between his actual wife.
Oh, no, he was a piece of shit before then.
Yeah.
Because he was actively cheating on her up to
He was also
point.
actively cheating on her. But just like, that just...
I can't count Mick as her worst husband, as their marriage lasted a day, and she full on manipulated that man into it. Like, was he terrible? I don't know. He was just a hoe.
Yeah.
He was just a drunk hoe that delighted in the fact that he was able to bed a starlet, and
he delighted in the fact of making women upset. Like, that was a thing. He got off on...
Yes, that is what I said.
Okay.
You talked over me.
Okay, I heard
I said he betted her, and then also because he upset her, because he delighted in the fact that he had power to upset her, but also like I said, Evelyn manipulated every part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't make it like... To be clear, I'm not defending him on any level. I'm just saying comparatively to Max is worse to me.
Yeah. Rex, icon, honestly. So funny. Like, the fact, I also loved the scene where he's like kind of drunk and he's like, we did have something cool. Like, they were a power couple. It seemed like he had been drinking.
Yeah,
tipsy.
But he sobered up pretty damn fast.
Starts putting the moves on her. She's like, no. And he's like, okay. And just leaves. And I was like, I'm so glad that you didn't prove to be a scumbag in that moment. He did also like cheat on a previous part. He has issues, but as complex...
None of these men except Robert are like...
Yeah, Robert doesn't seem to have been cheating on anyone and just loves love. I'm like, go off, Robert.
But I think that was also part of the point of the book, was that nobody is perfect, and like it's hard to define what makes somebody good and what makes them not good. Because like we are getting a story about all of these men, and they are from Evelyn's point of view and everything, and it's like Evelyn herself also wasn't the best of people. And
oh no, absolutely not.
It's comparatively to her husband's, her marriage with Cecilia, also not the greatest.
No.
So marriage with Robert, honestly, the best relationship.
Yeah, her relationship with Cecilia was shout out homophobia for ruining everything.
I was about to be like, homophobia isn't why she and Cecilia broke up, but it kind of was just
I mean,
society
it
being
was a
homophobic,
heavy factor in their issue.
not Cecilia and Evelyn being homophobic. I had misunderstood.
No.
Though Cecilia was very biphobic, and I hated
She was very biphobic. Cool. Do you have another question?
Evelyn infantilized her too much sometimes, in my opinion.
What did you say? I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said Evelyn infantilized her and forgave her a little too much, in my opinion. But I think that was just a well done portrayal of their age gap, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure what their age gap was supposed to be.
Evelyn's in her they said their ages when they were in Little Women together.
Okay.
It was somewhere between 5 and 8 years. But
I thought it was less than 5.
No, because Cecilia was like 20 and Evelyn was like 25 or 26, I think.
Oh wait, they have a whole Wikipedia page. Okay, she was born in 1938. Evelyn was.
25 minus 1938.
And she... It doesn't say Celia's age. Oh, wait, 1939.
No, they were more than a year apart.
I think part of their beginning dynamic is because Evelyn had been in the industry since she was like 16, and Cecilia entered later. I
was pretty sure they said Cecilia was a little younger.
Okay,
but
I knew it was younger, but I thought it was like 2 years or something like that. Either one of us could be. I mean,
the wiki's on your side, so we'll take that for the moment. JC, if you remember, phone in.
But I think JC agrees.
Oh, I left out a very. They were definitely more than a year apart. I left out a really important part of the ending in which. So there's this ongoing thing where Monique had written an excellent article on assisted suicide for people with terminal illnesses or who are just very old, at the twilight years of their life. And Evelyn's really cagey about a timeline, and all she's like is she doesn't expect to live a lot longer. And Evelyn overdoses herself on a prescription cocktail at the end because she has developed breast cancer.
Just like her daughter.
And she does not want to deal with it.
I was like, not even death is going to stop Evelyn, or is going to take control out of Evelyn Hugo's hands.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, she's so cool.
So it's like, I lived the way I wanted to live. I will die the way I want to die. And I'm like, you know what? Queen.
Yeah. Hi, Storm.
Yeah, I'm glad that you also feel that.
I looked up a couple things, and it keeps saying that they were born in 39 and 38, and I'm like, okay.
No, like canonically, maybe that's right. JC and I are just saying the vibe ain't there. Which could be an example of, worldly versus sheltered, but there's just some other stuff that is like, no. But age is a number.
Yes.
I suppose. Okay. I feel like this is... Okay. So... this book handles a lot with intersectional feminism, though it never uses that term, with especially with bisexuality and biracial identity. While you and I cannot speak personally on biracial identity, I am raising 3 children with biracial identities. I am not an expert, nor can I speak for them, but when I read certain things about biracial identities, I do have an empathy or a sympathy, and a lot of times I'm like, is that what my kids are going to have to deal with, or how? I try to kind of figure out how I could help them handle some of these things. Not use it as a learning tool per se, so much as just trying to expand my knowledge isn't the word I'm going for. Expand my worldview, I guess.
Okay.
But the bisexuality is a part of the intersectional feminism that you and I can speak to. I did still want to bring up the biracial identity and talk about it a bit, especially in terms of the book and stuff, though, because I feel like not talking about it at all
would be weird.
Yeah, it would be weird, especially given the way the book handles it so well. Expand my understanding. Yes, we'll go with that. So that was just the talking point. I know that you also wanted to talk about at least the bisexual side of things.
Yes, that's the only one. At least from my own experience and with queer media in general, it is quick to go from, even with for both women and men and everything in between, or not at all, media is quick to go, oh, but I like the person of the opposite sex. I'm straight. And then they meet someone, it's like, oh, actually, no, I'm a lesbian. I'm a gay man. Like, I'm queer. Not queer, I'm gay. And immediately, like, always, not always, very often ignoring the wide breadth of identities that are in between those 2 points. And I was worried that this book was going to do that too. And when it didn't, and when it didn't just, oh, she's bisexual, it did a full stop Stormageddon. I'm trying to say interesting and important things about identity here. Go away. And when it didn't, and it like paused the narrative, like took a step back and addressed that assumption, and kept coming back to it, not just like as a queer woman, but as a bisexual woman, bisexual, and like just saying the name of it, and it being a crucial factor in identity that is narrowed down. Like, it's not just that she's part of the LGBT plus community. It's like, no, she's a bisexual woman. Seeing that was really cool, because it is often not shown in media, or having people, my own experience, people when I've been with a woman be like, oh, you're a lesbian. I'm like, no, I'm not. I do like men and everyone else, but I do like men. Or if I'm like showing more interest in men, then it's like, oh, I thought you liked girls. I'm like, I do. I like multiple. Oh,
I am down for dick does not mean I am not down for clay.
Yeah, but it's a lot from the queer community and the straight community. It's just, in general, seeing either who you're with at that point and erasing the defined
in a way
by who you're with and not who you are.
Yes,
that's very common.
In a way, it's more annoying from the queer community, because it's like in the straight community, you're like, no, I get it. You just don't understand. It's like you're just naive or ignorant, whichever term I want that day. But from the queer community, I'm like, you motherfuckers should know better.
And then the whole talk about how just because she's bisexual doesn't mean she's more likely to cheat, or it's not because she's bisexual that she's had so many partners and husbands, or such a sexuality to her.
Mhm.
Like that's not what that equates. Because that's also a very common assumption about bisexual
Yeah.
people, that they're unfaithful or they're like super fucking horny all the time, which maybe they are, but it's not
That's
because they're
not because they're bisexual.
So yeah.
I appreciate, like, because Evelyn fights, like, it shows her fighting against all of these uh identity issues, and at every turn, essentially. And it's like, this is a struggle. Like, she's in the 2017s, and it's like, yes, homosexuality is more accepted now than it was when she was younger, but still she's having to fight against the assumptions. Like, when Monique, says, oh, so you're a gay woman, she's like, no, I'm a bisexual woman. And also when Monique talks about, like, her sexuality and, like, having cheated on Cecilia, and she's like, I never cheated on Cecilia, because she's like, sex is different than sexuality. And she's like, I used sex to get what I wanted because that's how I was, and I just never stopped, and I didn't consider how that would make her feel. And she's like, but it wasn't because I was into men. Like, I would have done it if I wasn't into men. That's how I got what I wanted. So she's like, my sexuality has nothing to do with that. And I was like, I really appreciate that they are dissecting these tropes and that they are discussing them. I also appreciate that it's so weird to say, I appreciate the biphobia. I appreciate the biphobia also coming from people that loved and accepted Evelyn, because it's true. Like, Cecilia, she pointed out, she's like, oh yeah, Cecilia accepts that I'm bi until she's mad at me, basically, and then she throws it in my face. Or until she's, like, insecure, and then suddenly this is like,
you're gonna leave me for a man, or you have this relationship with a man and I'm not a man. And the fact that Evelyn's like, yeah, I looked at other people throughout all of my marriages, but that's just how humans work. Like, I didn't pursue anyone else.
Like, I wasn't hoeing.
Yeah.
Unless I had permission to hoe, and that was different. And so I love that they take those conversations, and the book is more centered around that. It's kind of interesting, because for as big a thing as it is in the book, it is not at all in the marketing, or, like, even the word of mouth marketing. Like, when I told you to read it, I didn't tell you anything about.
I had heard the voice clip of, because they're the seven husbands, and I'm Evelyn Hugo. And once people hear my story, I think they'll be much more interested in my wife. I'd heard that before, but I thought that was an edit, because it was used to refer to, like, different fandoms and stuff. So I thought that someone edited in, and once they hear my story, I think they'll be much more interested in my wife. So when it did become, as soon as Cecilia was introduced, I was like, oh,
maybe
it is. I don't think that was an edit. And so the entire book, I was waiting for that line, and then it was like the last line or something like that. And I was like, yeah.
But I feel like Monique's biracial identity, while important to the narrative, I don't feel like it was centered as much, which is fine. I don't necessarily think it needed to be centered. I think the narrative handled it in a way where this is a part of Monique, and this is a part of who Monique is. And because of this, she is able to empathize with some of Evelyn's struggles. And I liked that, because very often the biracial identities and everything become the center focus, and not always for good narrative reasons. Like, they don't become the center focus because, oh, this is a story where should be the center focus. And it's like, oh, this isn't a character, this is a biracial character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I wish they had spent just a little more time on Harry being with a black
man. Yes.
and that they pinned the blame on the black man for this drunk driving accident. As soon as they didn't describe or say anything about the young man that was in the car with Harry, I was like, either this is showing the fact that Evelyn doesn't give a fuck about people who aren't close to her, which I don't think is 100% true, but she does have a tendency to sacrifice other people's well-being for the well-being of people she really cares about, she loves. And I was like, okay, this is a startling example of that. And then I don't
GC.
I don't remember what points. Thank you. I was like, oh shit, it's the dad. But it was sometime before the reveal, and I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh no.
I did not see it coming.
You didn't?
No, actually, Evelyn got me.
It coming like a couple paragraphs before it was, but I was like, there's. But
I had these other theories that like she was related to Evelyn somehow, that maybe Evelyn didn't get that abortion or something. I
also thought that, yeah, at one point.
Did not, yeah, the idea that like the idea that Harry's lover had been Monique's dad did not cross my mind.
I thought at one point that Monique's mother might have been Cecilia's granddaughter or daughter.
Yeah, something like that.
I was like, there's definitely some parent thing going on here, but I cannot for the life of me figure out what it is.
Harry could have been her stepdaddy.
Yeah, maybe. AU, where it's just Evelyn Hugo raising a plethora of children. Actually, they all move to Spain and they just get breast cancer's cured and they all get a fucking villa there and happily ever after. That was like a thing I wish we got a little bit more of, because they like mentioned civil rights issues throughout the whole book and how everyone is like supportive of them, but there was very little common.
They essentially like, I think the most they touched on the actual movements and stuff was just to say that they supported them financially because they could not support them otherwise. And I like that Harry said, essentially, if we go out there, then it doesn't become about the movement anymore. It becomes about us. And so we would be doing a disservice to them.
I think they did that for racial civil rights, or like the civil rights movement for the queer.
That was for the Stonewall riots.
Or no, sorry, they did that for the queer ones, but for the racial stuff, I think they did mention actually appearing as themselves in support, because the problem with them appearing at Stonewall or something like that would be, all the discussion would be, oh, are they one of them?
That's right.
But with them appearing at like Martin Luther King and stuff like that, like he was mentioned at one point, no one's gonna be like, are they black? Because they're not asking that, even though Evelyn is Cuban.
I was about to say, even though Evelyn's not actually white.
That wouldn't be the questions people are asking. People would be like, why is Evelyn Hugo or why is Harry Cameron supporting that? And that would still bring attention. So I think they were appearing in person for things that they could, and then financially supporting and things that they couldn't.
It says that, but it doesn't like show them doing anything.
No, it was like a montage. There was like a paragraph.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm kind of conflicted because I'm like,
yeah,
that's what it felt like. It was like, oh yeah, they're really good people and stuff, but it didn't show them like doing anything in the industry to try to to help that, whereas like Evelyn does a lot for women in like culturally for women and stuff, and like that was the whole point of a couple of her films. And so it feels like we get examples of that and everything. But then, like you said, the only thing that we really see them do racially is frame a black man for.
I think there were a lot of.
But I also, sorry, I was just going to add, but I also like don't necessarily think that. I don't know. I'm a little conflicted because I'm like, I wish there was more of it, but also
it's not what the story
does not have to do that, and that is not the focus of the story.
I think it wasn't they're like, yeah, let's frame the black guy. I think it was more what I more meant is within the narrative of Evelyn Hugo, they, these very rich and powerful people, didn't do anything that only they could do.
Yes.
Like Evelyn, all of Evelyn's women's rights stuff, like she was in that position. She has that power, that asset to be able to make this move. And even at the end of her life, releasing this book about everything was something only she could do. But they didn't do, there wasn't really a racial, for the race stuff, there wasn't an instance of like only they could do this, or only they took the chance to do that. And I felt like her Cuban heritage, we had a couple, like we'd check in with it every couple of years, but there felt like there wasn't as much as a resolution to that. Like, oh, they went to Spain and she was learning Spanish and cooking dishes from her childhood with her daughter. But I didn't feel like we got a resolution further than that. Like even, or talking about her mom or her time with her mom with her daughter, or I don't know, confronting. We have a lot of scenes where she's like, oh, I'm suppressing my racial identity and that kind of eats me up inside. But we didn't have a moment in her head where she's like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Or I'm going to share this with my daughter. We see the effects, but not the emotions that go behind that in the moment.
So. Yeah, which again is not necessarily.
It's not needed. I don't know.
I, as a white lady, I cannot say if it was needed or unneeded. All I feel confident in saying is it wasn't necessarily the point, and I am uncertain as to whether or not Taylor.
That would also be a factor in it. I don't know if Taylor Jenkins Reid is a person of color or bisexual.
That wasn't what I was gonna say.
Okay.
I was gonna say is I don't know if that boils down to the whole conversation of like how responsible is an author for tackling any and all issues in their novel. And for me personally, while I would have liked a little more, I understand why it's not there, and I don't necessarily think it is a criticism, or I think
critique. Yeah, I'm not like, oh, this brought down the novel for me, but it's more of a, I would have liked to see that.
Yeah, I would have liked more, especially. But that's the other thing. It's like with as well as she handled absolutely everything else, perhaps she did not feel like she could handle that to the same level. In which case, I might make the same decision then. It's like, I ain't confident I can handle this as well as it should be handled. So then, that just comes down to the conversation of like, then should I leave it out? But I don't think people should leave things out just because they can't do the deeper aspects of it. You know what I mean? Especially
I would have disliked if they had her be Evelyn Herrera's. If I'm remembering still, Herrera. If they had her be Evelyn Herrera, who had to change her name to be less Cuban and more white, and then they never brought it up again. Other than that, I would have been much more upset about that. I would have been like, oh, come on. Like, you introduced this like really important thing and then just never touched on it again. But she very much did. And I liked when she did. Like, I thought there was really good story and like moments, not just story, but also like a real thing that people in the past and today have to do. So, as a white woman, that's my opinion. So,
I will say Taylor looks white. Does not necessarily mean she is, but
let's see. What's something else I wanted to discuss?
I looked up Taylor Jenkins Reid, is she white? And one of the first things I see is this, to me, is just another example of you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I appreciate her trying to be inclusive to every type of character in her books. But Lord, people will find a reason to have a problem with anything. And I'm like, that's what we're trying to not do.
Yeah.
It do appear she is white. And straight.
Oh. Would not have expected that.
I had no expectations. I don't.
I assumed she was bisexual. Just from the.
I mean, I feel like that might be a fair assumption to make because of how well she portrayed the character. Yeah. But as you know, I go out of my way to not assume these things of anybody. Like I was talking to somebody and I was like, I don't assume anybody's sexuality, and they were like, well, what if they're dating a man? Then I assume they're into men. It's like, you don't assume they're straight, and I'm like, no. They could also be into women. You don't know.
Our whole last conversation earlier about people assuming sexuality based on who you're with and not who you are.
So I'm like, I don't assume nothing about nobody.
But overall, I would really like this book. Definitely recommend it. Yep.
I keep seeing this, and I'm like, this was not a hear me out book, but I keep wanting to click it anyway. No, I specifically picked this book. I forgot which we read one of the dark. It might have been the last Dark Hunter, and because you were complaining about all my sex heavy, my very straight sex heavy books, and so I was like, let me go pick some not
I also liked the way sex was handled in this, where it wasn't fade to black, but it wasn't explicit sex.
Yes.
Like it was very middle line that was poignant, almost with the whole sexuality versus sex, like intimacy versus sex conversation that Evelyn talks about a lot.
I also, I will say, it was one of the far darker parts of the book, in my opinion, but I really liked the way that she described the seduction and abandonment of Mick Riva. Mick Riva?
Mick Riva.
Yeah, such a simple name, and yet so hard to remember. So, yeah, Mick Riva, because, like, she was saying it like, well, this is what you do, as if, like, that's like not what
guy. So I'm like, girl, we're not going to go out here and do the same thing.
But I think in a way that she explained it that way because that's how she coped with it. Mm-hmm. Especially like because she speaks of it so glibly, but her word choice is so heartbreaking.
There's definitely a level of like of what she is doing while she's describing what's happening. And how she like had a plan and then but the plan, even though it's very like step 1, step 2, it's like no, these are actual people.
She started panicking because she was like, but you're losing. Oh no, you keep losing, but he won't marry you. If you're losing, he's gotta be on a high. And I'm like, that's fair.
Do you have any more thoughts on this book?
Probably, but the brain fog is so strong. It's I'm very pleased to have been able to discuss this book with you, and that I like the book talks, and I think that is going to help both of us figure out how we want to talk about like books and issues in books and stuff going forward. Because like with the Evelyn Hugo, like I said, I wanted to talk about some of the intersectional feminism, and I was like, we are two very white ladies. Like, you look at our ancestry.com and it says whitest, the whiteiest.
You look at me right now and my eyes are like blue.
I've got 1%.
But they're here.
I've got 1% not white, and Ancestry.com keeps changing its mind on what that even means. So I'm like,
I don't have even that one.
But I'm like, but I want us to talk about these things because I think it is important for us to talk about these things. So
Storm's telling me evil, but yes, I agree.
So it made me sit down and think about how I wanted to talk about it and stuff. And then I got brain fog and forgot the things I wanted to say, and it made me sad. But such is life. Should have taken notes. But I was saving Hyrule instead. All right, and I think with that, we are done with spoilers. Oh, who was your favorite character?
Evelyn.
That's fair. I really enjoyed Evelyn. I liked Evelyn so much I forgot parts of Monique's plotline when I was recapping the book, like the stuff with her mom and her husband.
Yeah.
I loved Monique, and I really enjoyed the character arc that she had.
Absolutely.
But I really do love Evelyn, and I guess
Evelyn.
if you want
She's
to know more
not
about
a good person, or not a flawless person, or anything like. I like Evelyn like I like Deborah Vance from Hacks, where is also a now rich older woman who's done fucked up things in her life, but the world is a terrible place for her. So, but she's where she is, and she's not unrepentant, but not unsympathetic or something like that. I don't know.
I changed my mind. I want to talk a little bit more because there are things I wanted to talk about with Monique that I can remember now.
Okay.
I enjoy that Monique is the reader insert, but not the reader insert at the same time. Yes. Because through Monique, like a lot of the things that Monique is learning through Evelyn, the reader themselves can also like change your perspective and stuff. And I almost like look at Monique and am like, this is what Taylor wants people to get out of this book. You know, like one of those things is when dealing with her divorce, right? And her ex, he left her because he was going to get a job in New York and she wanted to stay in LA, and he wouldn't stay for her and she wouldn't leave for him.
She wanted to stay in New York. And I'm pretty sure he went to San Francisco. It doesn't matter. Cross country.
There was LA and New York. They were living in one of them. I thought it was LA because I thought Evelyn lived in LA, but maybe she moved to New York. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Point is, yeah. Well, Evelyn, one of the things with her like divorces and stuff is she said that she hated she didn't want to divorce Max at first because she didn't want to feel like she failed again.
Yeah.
And she's like, but that's not what it is. And that was when Monique realized that she didn't want to stay married to her ex-husband. She just felt like she failed at being married. And like it's like right there like they don't, it is not subtle is what I was trying to
not at all.
When he like comes and he's all like, you know, essentially we can make this work. He's like, and she's just like, no, we can't make this work because like when you got here, you didn't say that you missed me or that you can't live without me. You were just like something along the lines of essentially we can't fail.
Yeah.
Right. And so she's like, we don't actually want to be married. We just don't want to accept that we failed at being married.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he's just like, you know what, bitch got a point. And he just leaves.
Yeah, I was
and gives her coffee table back.
Which I was also very happy about. Storm, please go away for like 10
He was like, I took this coffee table because I was petty. You can have the coffee table back. Notably, did not give her anything else back, though. But it's okay. She didn't want the cookbooks anyway.
She was mostly messed up about the coffee table because
she was very emotionally invested in that coffee table. So, and like, Evelyn helps give her the confidence to ask for things and for her to realize that, like, she needs to have more confidence in herself because she is good and she is skilled and stuff. And so she is able to successfully negotiate for a better position in her company and a pay raise. Yeah. And even negotiates with Evelyn because she's like, Evelyn, you take the cover photo or I walk, essentially. Oh, I made my notes on what I wanted to talk about are gone. Did I accidentally put it in here? Oh well. I remember now. I wanted to talk about. So the whole thing with Monique and Evelyn is that Monique doesn't know why she's there. She doesn't understand this entire time. She does not understand that she is there because Evelyn feels guilty about what she did and wants to repent in some way. But Evelyn is a weird character because she knows that she's not deserving of forgiveness or repentance, but she still wants to in some way or form. So the only thing she can figure is to basically give Monique the absolutely biggest payout she can ever.
Yeah.
And so
not just a monetary thing, because she could have just given Monique a shit ton of money, but also name-wise help Monique achieve her goals.
Yeah. Like, she's giving Monique monetary gain and power. Because, like, Monique has bartering power with this, and when she writes it, she's going to be known as the writer who wrote this. And so she will have a claim and weight behind her name. But the thing is, Monique probably could have gone her whole life and not have been lesser for not knowing the truth of her father's death. Mm-hmm. That learning the truth of her father's death creates a lot of emotional turmoil within her that she has to now deal with and come to terms with in a multitude of ways. And so it's this idea that, like, people sometimes, what I wanted to talk about was grief versus I had written it so lovely earlier.
I want to pop in real quick as you're formulating your thought and also say Monique's grieving, she talked about her grieving was always missing her dad. All of her memories were tainted by the fact that his decision made him a memory and not someone that can still be in her life. So having this reveal, it didn't even sink in totally that, like, the secondary wave of was that he was gay. The first one was he didn't cause his own death. So I think it was good for her that she did find that out. And I think that's why she will be able to forgive Evelyn one day.
But the thing I wanted to talk about is grief versus confession.
Okay.
And it's like people confess not for others, they confess for themselves.
Yeah.
To grief versus guilt, I think is what it was. Because Evelyn told her because she felt guilty, And after Evelyn told her, there's a noticeable weight lifted from Evelyn, and Evelyn is now okay because it's out there and Evelyn doesn't have to hide this. She doesn't have to protect anybody anymore. She has now made peace, regardless of however Monique was going to take that, because it still could have gone really terribly. Instead of being tainted by the idea that her dad got drunk and was really irresponsible, it could have been like, oh, well, now my dad has lied to us. And she's like, now I'm carrying the weight of a secret.
There's no way Evelyn could have known the outcome.
Yes, and so she's not doing that, and Evelyn even knows she's not doing this for Monique. She's not doing this so that Monique finally has the truth. She says that she's doing this so that Monique knows how loved she was. But, like, there's still a lot of complex things that come into that, and that is a narrative thing that a lot of people use, where it's basically like, oh, well, this dark secret has been confessed, and now after everybody deals with the aftermath, everything is going to be better. But, like, that's not true in all cases. And they're really lucky. Well, like, Evelyn's really lucky that when Monique talked to her mom, because that was the other thing, she was like, should I tell my mom? Like, my mom was married to this man whom was apparently in the closet. And her mom, in a way, is kind of just like, yeah, no, I know your dad went into me. The sex was terrible.
Yeah.
But we loved each other, so we were just kind of like, eh. She's like, he was like your dad and the love of my life.
At first I thought maybe the mom knew, and I don't think it's whether she knew or not. I think it's the fact that she didn't care.
She really didn't.
She was like, she knew what she was going to get out of that relationship as she entered it and as she was in it. And I think it would have hurt her more the fact that he was cheating than the fact that he was gay.
See, and that's the other thing, though. Now she's got to, like, she's got to carry that, and she's got. So that's like one of those things where it's like, so should she ever confess? Or I'm not like actually asking, but it's one of those things where she has to decide, should she ever confess to her mother, or just let her mom live in, like, blissful ignorance and then just deal with the fact that she's hiding something from her mother.
She now has the burden of the truth.
Yes. And so it's one of those things where I just it also goes to show how, like, complex Evelyn is, because Evelyn, like, her motivations for telling Monique this were, like, mixed, right? It's because she wanted Monique to know how loved she was, but also she waited until she was gonna die. She's like, I'm gonna kill myself, so before I do, let me finally tell Monique about her dad. And I know Evelyn's all like, well, I don't have anybody else left to tell, but her daughter's been dead for a couple years, so it's like, girl, you've been sitting on this.
Yeah. Like,
if you were not diagnosed with cancer, would you be sitting on this for longer?
Yeah, with the everyone in this story is dead. What about Nick the driver? Is Nick the driver dead? Sounds like he's a hell of a lot younger than you. It's also, he changed his name, but, like, when he went into the industry, I'm like, is he gonna get found out if she published that part of the book?
She had Grace assassinate Nick. He's gone. That's why she sent them to England. Nick is gone. Evelyn outlived them all. But to be fair, though, she said she didn't have anybody left to protect, so that kind of implies she wasn't gonna protect Nick in the first place.
She's like, yeah, I kind of admire him, but also fuck him for taking advantage of me.
This motherfucker. She's all like,
I'm the only
could have been my son. So she's like, this motherfucker could have been my son, the way he took advantage of that situation.
I think Connor's death, her daughter.
That part gets me every time.
Yeah. That was rough.
It just reminds me of there's this movie that I saw where this dad, he was just like, a parent should never bury their child. And the way he performed it, like every time a parent talks about having to bury their children unexpectedly, I'm like, that poor man.
On Supernatural a couple times. Because a lot of people die on Supernatural.
Everybody burying everybody. Is but yeah, so I just wanted to briefly talk on like the I guess burden of the truth and deciding when or when not to tell that, and then like absolution. She may never genuinely forgive Evelyn, and Evelyn's okay with that. Yeah. Also, like, one does not have to give forgiveness to move on.
I think Evelyn wanted to be hated in that moment, though. Evelyn wanted to be last. She didn't want
to be forgiven because she didn't think she deserved forgiveness.
Yeah. And I think she was at peace with the fact that she might not ever get. She thought she was at peace with it, and then when Monique showed up, and Evelyn, I think, figured out that she might actually one day get forgiveness, even if she'll be gone by then. That's when she kind of made peace with her existence.
I also like that despite the fact that Monique had written that article about assisted suicide, that she still found herself at such odds with whether she should try to stop Evelyn or just let it happen.
I thought she was going to go and be with Evelyn as it happened, so that she didn't have to die alone.
She needs plausible deniability.
Yeah. I was like, it made sense when it didn't, but in one of the moments, I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. You've only known this woman for like 2 weeks max, like it does make sense.
You pissed at her right now.
I was like, oh, she has to die alone, but she's going to go supposedly be with all of her loved ones. So
Evelyn did also choose the way that statistically most women choose to end themselves, which is with medication. So I had a morbid sense of satisfaction with that because I was like, yes, Evelyn.
I was like, how is Evelyn Hugo gonna end herself? And I was like, okay, no, it's
statistically.
The final article about her death was that she accidentally overdosed. I was like, oh, so they're not even ballsy enough to say it, because that's not really of a.
That would require an investigation and a all they could. She was old. Her assistant was on vacation. Yeah. She just fucked up.
She was dementia and blah blah blah. But I'm like, what if someone murdered her?
Honestly, today I woke up and I was like, not today, yesterday I woke up at 2 or 3 in the afternoon and I stared at my prescription and I'm like, did I take you this morning?
Sam, that is terrible.
I did not. Look, it's better to miss a dose than to accidentally take 2. So I was just like, I don't remember clearly, so we're just not going to do that. I had gotten in the habit of taking the medicine when I make the kids breakfast. So I'm pretty sure I did, but that's just how strong. Sometimes the brain fog is just that strong that I question everything in life. I'm like, did I? So, but this is why old people like me need the pill things, because
I need the pill things too.
If it's empty, I took it. Well, then you two are old. Evelyn should have had the pill thing, so that she would have known if she already took her medication.
She did it on nighttime meds
or her daytime meds. Sorry, I'm a very dark humor person. Damn it, I distracted myself. I forgot what I was gonna say. Going on my tyrant about old people.
Article, yet she's still.
Oh, so the articles. I really enjoyed that at the beginning of. I mean, I love when I've read several novels that have done this recently, but I really enjoy when at the beginning of a chapter or a section is an insert of media.
Yeah, I like it too.
Like, I love that.
Mhm.
In a fantasy novel I recently read, the like insert would just be like from a book that one of the characters was reading or from a historical document. One of them was just like the characters like reading this from the book of so and so, and all it said was, "You're all fucking cowards," and that was it. And then the chapter started, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's a historical quote, all right. So I imagine that that's how Monique like did it in the memoir book, that she used some of the articles to show kind of like how the media and everyone else perceived the events of the events that Evelyn was speaking on. So
Yeah.
My husband asked me if I was asleep, and I was like, "No, I'm streaming." And he goes, "Oh."
Yeah, I always love when there's other media types because it also gives you a vibe for the culture of that time rather than just like hearing us reading about the article or even being like they picked up the article and read it. Just like no, we read the article.
Yes,
like we're all experiencing this, and then we'll see reactions to it, or then we'll see. Or it also was well used for time skips and stuff like that.
Yes. The montages, very creative narrative device. I think that may have been everything I remembered.
But wait, there's more.
Give me 2 seconds. One more thing.
One more. You thought it was over. What was that very Wesley from Princess Bride of me?
Oh, I was doing Uncle from Jackie Chan Adventures. One more thing.
Yeah, I did a totally different accent that I'm not going to try and replicate because I'm not good at accents. But is that it?
I think so, yeah. If there's anything anybody else wanted to talk about, feel free to leave us comments and we will respond back to you. We will try to tell the other one, like if you comment on CB's video, she'll try to let me know. If you comment on mine, I'll try to let her know.
I did not upload this to my channel. I did realize that when I clicked it over. So this is solely on your stuff.
You're going to be missing one.
Oopsies. I can just upload it.
I was about to say, you could just save it and then re-upload it. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Next time on
Dragon Ball Z.
We are doing, I haven't seen this cover. We are doing Grandmaster. No, this is the one. Okay.
I don't know what that means.
We're doing volume 3 of Modao Zushi, the Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation.
Is it Halloweeny?
Yeah. There's a lot of undead in it.
It looks spooky.
It is spooky.
I'm asking because it's October and I picked a vampire book.
Well, there's ghosts and demonic cultivation. It's spooky.
They did speak. They did reference Chinese vampires in the last book, so.
Yeah. I'm both excited and not.
Horrified, it would seem.
I'm going to have to queue up some fan fiction to read to comfort my heart and soul. And that's all I'm saying. So join us next time to continue covering the works of MXTX for my choices. We're not doing Heaven's Official Blessing after this. We're going to take a break from MXTX for my choices. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to take a break. After we finish.
Sounds like you need an emotional break.
I don't. Well, I'm actually planning on rereading it myself because I think I missed a book when I was reading it the first time. Because there's 9 or 8.
Just reread it with the Let's Talk.
No. It's so long. There's so much. I don't trust myself with like keeping straight 4 books with Scum Villain and then 5 books with this. I will not be able to keep 8 books straight of lore of what is said when. and would end up not being able to discuss something or horribly spoiling it for you. As of that's my now knowledge. Maybe I'll read the comic because the art is beautiful. Anywho, we're doing this one next time, which is October.
Oh, wait. I gotta go check. Because I haven't posted the October schedule, but we did decide on
October.
Hold on. I'm going to our DMs.
We can just.
No, they must know.
Yeah. I look like a vampire now because I changed my line date.
The 17th.
The October 17th. Bye.